විම් දියර මිලිලීටර් 100 ස්මාර්ට් පැක් එක රුපියල් 85ට දැන් වෙළඳ පොලේ.
හරිම සුළුයි.
Tonight on First at 9, this Sunday the 12th of March 2023. Fund allocation. Election Commission writes to the President requesting the release of funds to hold the election. Critical observations. Central Bank Governor remains critical over inflows of $500 million made through conversions in just a week.
This is where the people like you who are holding your currencies or dollars under the mattresses now coming out and giving outside the banks to change.
Speculation. Minister of Power and Energy Kanchana Wijesekara hints at the possible fuel price reduction next month. Bold ambitions. Tourism Minister announces host of ambitious plans for the tourism industry.
We really want to market wellness tourism, marine tourism, yacht parks, trying to find investors for skydiving schools.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9 with Andrew Bernard. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Alliance Finance මෙතුරු රන්නයි සේවාවෙන් රන් පවුම්කට රුපියල් 1,70,000ක ඉහළ අධිකාරම.
A very good evening and welcome to AdaDerana 24's English News. In your top story for tonight, the governor of the central bank, Dr. Nandalal Veerasinghe, has said today that since the rupee began to appreciate against the US dollar, the CBSL was able to acquire $500 million in just 7 days, compared to the month of an amnesty declared by the bank last year, allowing dollar holders to convert the currency when the dollar was sold at 365 at the time. Speaking during an event in Colombo, he emphasized that the protests currently staged in the country are done by those liable to the pay tax, as opposed to before the tax hikes.
A two-day seminar organised by the Bar Association of Sri Lanka was held in Colombo today. The first day of the seminar was held under the theme Navigating the Crisis and the Role of Law.
And rupee currency appreciated up to 300, 380. The remittances dropped almost half of what we were getting earlier. Several incentives for people to send money outside the system. That was the system that was created. And we were able to control that part, ban the open accounts, kill that market outside the banking system. As a result, grey market to black market rates from about 400 rupees came down to below 370, 365 until in the recent past. And banking system getting more liquidity. As a result, we see the easing pressure on the foreign exchange. There are a lot of indications. So going forward, it will be market determined exchange rate. There's no fear of floating. It will be flexible exchange rate. Don't ask me where will the exchange rate in the next few months. It will depend on demand and supply. This is where the people like you who are holding your currencies or dollars under the mattresses now coming out and giving outside the banks to change, unfortunately, at a low rate. This is where, knowing this situation, we gave a lot of opportunities for exporters who are holding, importers who are collecting dollars, people like you professionals, doctors, lawyers, engineers collecting dollars from the black market. If you can remember, we gave an opportunity to convert those dollars without asking questions. About 1 month, we got only $30 million during that period. And exporters who listened to us, they converted at the right time, they got 365, 370 per dollar. Instead of $30 million they brought during this period of amnesty, now they have brought in $500 million in 7 days. That is crash in the market, and without our intervention it would have crashed more. For example, doctors, even bankers, central bankers, commercial bankers, engineers of the public sector, the accountants, all these things are now protesting. Why? Because they are protesting, they are liable to pay tax, which is their only income, and they have to pay more taxes without any increase in pay. But I don't see lawyers are protesting. There must be reason, no? The judges made a case because their incomes are fixed. They all will have to declare, they can't hide their evade taxes. But there are no protests from lawyers because you know how to evade taxes. That's why you don't protest. When a client comes, you ask for cash. And you collect cash at home, sometimes buy dollars, then they are losing now. So buy a lot of other things and still declare a portion of what you earn and don't even pay value-added tax.
Now, the Election Commission of Sri Lanka today made a written request to the Minister of Finance requesting the release of funds required to hold the local government election of 2023. Meanwhile, the Department of Government Printing claimed that they are unable to commence the printing of ballot papers for the upcoming election as they are yet to receive the required funds.
The Election Commission of Sri Lanka today made a written request to the Minister of Finance requesting the release of necessary funds required to hold the upcoming local government election. According to the chairman of the Election Commission, Nimalji Punchiheva, the request has been forwarded to President Ranil Wickremesinghe in his capacity as the Finance Minister. This move comes shortly after the Secretary to the Ministry of Finance had informed the Election Commission that no direct decision pertaining to the release of funds can be made without the approval of the Minister. However, yesterday, the Finance Ministry Secretary informed the Commission that their request pertaining to the funds has been forwarded to the Finance Minister. Meanwhile, the Department of Government Printing claimed that they are unable to commence the printing of ballot papers for the upcoming election as they are yet to receive the required funds. According to the government printer Gangani Liyanage, over 200 million rupees should be provided to the department in order to carry out the initial activities of the local government election. However, the department has only received 40 million rupees so far. With that being the case, she noted that they are unable to hand over the postal ballot papers to the relevant post offices before the 20th of March owing to the current situation. Meanwhile, it is also reported that if the Election Commission does not receive the ballot papers before the 20th of March, it will be impossible to commence the postal ballot polling activities related to the election as previously scheduled. This development comes in a backdrop where the Election Commission announced the 25th of April as the new date to hold the local government election after it was postponed from its initial date due to the lack of financial allocation and other necessary facilities.
Now, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa reiterated that they are not afraid of the elections, adding that those who are afraid of the elections are the ones who are provoking the people. Addressing the Monoragala District Conference of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, the former president said they are confident in claiming victory at the upcoming local government election.
The Monoragala District Conference of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna was held this morning under the patronage of its party leader, former President Mahinda Rajapaksa.
All of us faces difficulties in life. Our country faces difficulties too. Compared to those who criticize us, we are in front in terms of the organizational capacity and unity. That's why we respond to those who criticize us at the right instance peacefully. We are ready to accept criticism, but not the mudslinging. Keep in mind that the SLPP is the only party that has worked for the betterment of the village. We are confident that the people in the rural areas stand with us. If we are confident of winning the election, why do we need to be afraid? We aren't afraid of the election. During the past few days, some were under the intention that they have already won the election. When they were requested to accept the responsibility of the country, both of the factions who shout refrain from doing it. That is because they are well aware of their ability. Why would they always provoke the people if they aren't afraid of elections?
Now, the Minister of Power and Energy, Kanchana Wijesekara, hinted at a possible reduction in fuel prices, saying that the benefit of the rupee appreciation will be passed down to the public at the next fuel price revision in April. He made these comments while addressing a public gathering in Minuwangoda.
I saw in a newspaper that the officials of the Ministry of Power and Energy had agreed to provide fuel to the Election Commission. I asked whether a new fuel was brought without my knowledge. My officials told me that nothing of that nature was promised. There are candidates here and all of them request us to increase the fuel quota. Then the fuel quota for all the 80,000 candidates needs to be increased. Is it ethical to increase it just for 2 or 3 people? The weekly quota of 5 litres for a motorcycle is requested to be given for a single day. I'm too of the view that 5 litres need to be given daily. However, we are unable to do it. We have to make plans to import fuel 3 to 6 months prior. That is why we told the Election Commission that we need at least 6 months to plan fuel importation. We will provide the fuel to the candidates after sourcing the funds. We will take the steps to pass the benefit of the rupee appreciation to the public from the next fuel price revision in April. We will do that. Restructuring is necessary in order to reduce fuel prices and electricity tariffs.
Now, women leaders in Sri Lanka are of the view that the education reforms are necessary for the development and the economic growth of the country. They further stated that the healthy gender diversities are also a necessary factor for the development of corporates. These views were shared during the event LEAD, which was held in Colombo with the participation of women leaders representing different sectors of the country.
The event, lead organised by the Friedrich Naumann Foundation and Next Gen SL in line with the International Women's Day celebration, was held recently in Colombo.
Sometimes you get the feeling that, some men might be a bit insecure, and there's maybe the thought that, the rise of women will mean the fall of men. But that's not the case. I sincerely believe the rise of women is not the fall of men. It's the rise of society as a whole.
අපේ රටේ කාන්තා නියෝජිතයන් 151ක්, ඡන්දේ දාන කාන්තාව ප්‍රමාණය 156ක්. ඒ වුණාට අපේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ ඉන්නේ කාන්තාවන් ඉතාම 14ක්. ඒක වාසනාවන්ත තත්ත්වයක්.
The women leaders explained their views on the national issues that needs to be addressed immediately.
Over the last few months, our taxes have taken a hike, but I welcome that reform because I think it's necessary to increase government revenue. But at the same time, I think we should also talk about expenditure. We need to start investing much more in human capital through better qualified teachers, better education facilities, and global education partnerships. I think to do this, we have to talk and have hard sort of conversations about where we're going to cut government expenditure. And I think in a period where we see sluggish economic growth, helping to integrate 50% of our population into the workforce is not just something nice to have for the sake of gender equality, but I think it is an economic necessity. Governments can encourage this. I think by helping women access the financing, the network, they need to become entrepreneurs.
Currently, more than 60 schools playing hardball cricket. Everything is coordinated, but there is no clear and specific path to get into the national or the international level. So we have to create a good structure for it. So there have to be more chances for female athletes to maintain their high level of athletic abilities. On the other hand, if we play out of passion when we leave or retired, the situation is not clear for us. The situation is very limited compared to the men's cricket. We should develop a program to keep them in touch with women's cricket. So it creates the job opportunities for them as well. And we need to create opportunities for the past experienced cricketers, especially women's cricketers, to get involved to the develop of women's cricket with experience and their knowledge.
සමානාත්මතාවයේ සුරැකෙන නීතීන් හා ප්‍රතිපත්තීන් කවදා හරි දවසක මට එමෙනි පසුබිම් බලයක් ලැබුණොත් නිර්මාණය කිරීමට බලාපොරොත්තු වෙනවා. මොකද ඒකෙන් මම හිතනවා මේ රටට විශාල සම්පත් දායකයන් අපිට බිහි කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියලා, බුද්ධිමතුන් බිහි කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයි කියලා.
We live in a world where a lot needs to change. But from my perspective as a professional in the field of obstetrics and gynecology, an excellent place to start that change would be fair reproductive health care for our women. Women face more stigma when they reveal or discuss their reproductive health issues. In Sri Lanka, we need to get to the root of the cultural issues that reinforce this stigma and address them. Teenage pregnancies have significant socio-economic consequences, and we need to find answers to these problems because the consequences of an unwanted pregnancy are alarming. Abortion is available in almost every country in the world, but abortion laws in Sri Lanka are restrictive, and abortion is permitted only in life-threatening cases. Maternal mortality is low in countries where abortion is freely available. Safe abortions means safe women. Every woman in Sri Lanka deserves quality healthcare services and the right to make informed choices about their body and health.
Strengthening the economy using the existing resource base is a priority. The green economy within the island and the blue economy around the island will take the front seat. Avenues will be explored to improve the competitive edges. Areas where we failed will be revisited.
It has been proven that if you have a good gender diversity in your organization with proper inclusive policies, you can actually maximize your growth, profitability, as well as generate good decisions and good innovation practices within organizations. So hence, it is definitely a business imperative. Every corporate in Sri Lanka should focus on providing women and those of different genders the ability to really stand up as leaders in the organization.
අපි කොළඹ ඇතුලේ සහ අඳුනාගත්තු පාසල් වලට ගොඩක් ફોකස් කරනවා වගේම දුෂ්කර ගම්මානවල දුෂ්කර පළාත්වල තිබෙන පාසල් වලටත් ඒ දරුවන්ට ලැබිය යුතු නිදහස් අධ්‍යාපනය ලබා දෙන්න ඕනේ කියන එක තමයි ප්‍රධාන වශයෙන්ම මම කියන්නට කැමති කාරණාව.
Now stay with us to find out what ambitious plans the Minister of Tourism has in mind for the tourism sector of the country.
ඉඩමට පෙරලි කරන බලපුළුවන් කාරයා මහින්ද්‍රා යුවෝ ටීමෝ වෙතින්.
Welcome back. Now, the Minister of Tourism, Harin Fernando, announced a host of ambitious plans that the ministry has in store for the development of Sri Lanka's tourism sector. The minister stated that this includes promoting welfare tourism, marine tourism, and investing in skydiving, among many other plans. Speaking at a media briefing organized during the International Tourism Promotion Festival in Berlin, Germany, last week he said that they aim to bridge about 3 of these reforms in order to ensure that the world sees Sri Lanka for everything it has to offer, than rather just another bucket list destination.
There are lots of new things Sri Lanka is doing, and one thing that we really want to market now is our wellness tourism. We have a very strong wellness tourism package, and I've met a lot of Germans who come to Sri Lanka for wellness, the Ayurvedic treatments, as well as the sun, the power, the positive energy, the yoga, the meditation. It has become very famous in Sri Lanka. If you want to adventure, we just started with the European Union a thing called a Pico Trail. A Pico Trail is where you would do a trail right on the mountains for 22 days. So you don't have to finish it within 22 days, but you can take it on stages. You do the first stage for about 4 days, and then you go to the beach, you rest about 5 more, 6 days, and then you go back to your country. But when you're on the list in shivering cold, your memory will be at the Pico Trail to finish the next 4 days. What we want Sri Lanka is not to be a bucket list, where you pick like you go to Thailand, I've been to Thailand. No, Sri Lanka isn't that. Sri Lanka is something that we want to offer more. Us, our hospitality, our love, our care, and our beautiful country. And what we have when it comes to religious tourism, we are a very diverse nation. We have all religions, we respect every religion, and we even respect certain beliefs. So Sri Lanka has all that it has to offer. So we are also launching one of the first kind of its app where you'll be able to have all the security features in it as you land in Sri Lanka. You just can scan the barcode, and every restaurant, every tuk-tuk you go into, you can just check in on that, so that the real security of a tourist will be looked after. And also, not only that, purchasing tickets to wildlife parks, purchasing tickets into various other institutes could be done through this app, and also it will be in 7 languages, and there will be a 24/7 call center for any tourist in a case of emergency. We looked into all of these aspects, and one of the new countries that we will really work hard with is Japan, because Japan and Sri Lanka has a huge friendship, huge history through Buddhism. We have a direct flight from Sri Lanka, but we've never ventured into tourism with Japanese. So again, wellness will be one thing that they'll be very interested, as well as the Buddhism, the pilgrim. One of the major things that we're going to promote very soon is marine tourism. And Sri Lanka has more than 142 shipwrecks around Sri Lanka. Just now, a Maldivian company called Universal, which is one of the biggest companies, just came and approached us wanting to do yacht parks in Sri Lanka. As you know, most of the Indian rich film Bollywood owners and the business people, they don't have yacht parks. They keep their yachts parked in Dubai, but it's just a 1-hour flight to Sri Lanka, or 35-45 minutes. If they come on their private jet, they can get into their yacht very soon. So we are developing on that, and we are doing a marine tourism. We've got a few more hot air balloons to Sri Lanka from Cappadocia in Turkey, and we are promoting it on our Yala, where people can have an aerial shot of the, like in Tanzania, on the wildlife, which is going to be something very attractive. We're trying to find investors for skydiving schools. You go up there, you see Sri Lanka, it's a beautiful place where it's like covered with green and then water. So it's something that any diver would like to see. So those are things that we are trying to do and introduce. And I'm quite certain within this year we can execute all of this.
And that's all the news we have for you this evening. Join us again tomorrow for the very latest news at the very same time. Join our social media pages to stay updated on the latest news. Have a pleasant evening and good night.
For news and information you can trust 24 hours a day, visit AdaDerana.lk.